What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best NBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now, don't forget to like this video, as it does let me know to continue to give you free picks every day. So make sure to like this video, clicking that button down below. And if we get 500 likes, I will do another video for tomorrow. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group. And as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now, a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong, got 20 right, which is a 96% win rate. Yes, guys, you heard that right. 96% win rate. So we're in a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 96% win rate and get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,250 just yesterday. Another member who won $700 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to RK Football 3409 who said, only Drew Holiday cooked us, man. All green except him. We go again stronger. Man, you always the best. So shouts out to him. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below on this one and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is Derrick White, and this one is for points and rebounds. So this one is a combo one for 20.5, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Derrick White, we actually have seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on March 19th, faced off against the Golden State Warriors, had 17 points and rebounds in that matchup. March 21st, faced off against the Memphis Grizzlies and also had 19 points and rebounds there. Then March 23rd, faced off against Minnesota Timberwolves, had 21 points and rebounds in that matchup, 14 points and rebounds against Oklahoma City Thunder on March 26th. So really interesting to see. Now, we also did see March 28th, faced off against Atlanta and had 14 points and rebounds there. So we have actually seen Derrick White go on the under, as I mentioned, in 4 out of the last 5. But what we also do know, looking at this matchup, is that also that Derrick White and the Boston Celtics have themselves a really good matchup against the Charlotte Hornets. So it is definitely going to be an exciting matchup there. Looking at where both these teams do lie, starting off with actually Boston Celtics. Boston have surprised a lot of people so far this season, but they have been able to do a fantastic job because they come in at the 2nd spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have 49 wins and 24 losses, a 67.1% win percentage there, 26-11 from home, 23-13 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So really interesting to see from them there. Obviously, looking at someone like Derrick White, we definitely have seen him do a great job, in some of those games, but recently has definitely struggled. Now, they face off against Charlotte Hornets, who have also made the play-ins because they currently rank 10th in the Eastern Conference. So they are on the other side of the table. Now, this game is still very important for Hornets and also Celtics, as it could mean that they have themselves a higher ranking in the play-ins as well. So I think that's really important there. So Hornets are definitely going to play their heart out here, but they have 39 wins, 35 losses, a 52.7% win percentage there. Also 19-18 from home, 20-17 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So really interesting to see from them there. Now, looking at this matchup, we do also know that looking at Charlotte Hornets and where they do rank defensively, we do see points allowed. Charlotte Hornets do rank 8th, allowing 111.7 points per game. Then we also see rebounds allowed, that when it comes to that, we do actually see that Derrick White facing off against a Charlotte team that do also rank very well when it comes to rebounds allowed, as Charlotte Hornets do rank number 1, allowing 39.2 rebounds per game. So really interesting to see there. Obviously, looking at that, we definitely have seen Derrick White go on the under in, multiple matchups. And the fact that he does face off against Charlotte, we should see him go on the under once again here. Now, for someone like Derrick White, he is a guard. Charlotte also do a fantastic job at restricting points and rebounds to the guard position. So that's definitely very, very important in that sense. But what we definitely can still see coming into this is that also that Charlotte not only are a great defensive team, but as I mentioned before, this game is very important for Charlotte to win. So we are expecting Charlotte, even though that they have clinched a play-in spot, to really play their heart out in this matchup. So for that reason, we are expecting full force from Charlotte Hornets to really bring out that, intensity on defense that they have done all season. I know a lot of, some games we tend to see teams start to tank, start to not really play their starters or anything like that. But for a team like Charlotte, we are expecting them to go all out. Now, Derrick White, we do also know Derrick White is in a position where he has struggled over the last 5 games. So his usage rate and his struggling in the usage rate is definitely going to be a huge factor there. So when we look at Derrick White facing off against Charlotte in the past, we have seen them face off against each other before. Now, facing off against each other, we saw them face off on the 4th of March. So this was recent, this season and also this year. Had 29 minutes, 29 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and also one steal there. So yes, we did actually see Derrick White do a great job in that matchup, but we do see that game as being a little bit more of an outlier type matchup. Players are definitely going to, do some sort of, I would say, outlier sort of performances from time to time. That was definitely one of them, but unfortunately, we are expecting him to come back down in reality and go on the under, especially against a top defensive team like Charlotte. Now, looking at actually what the pros do have to say about it. So obviously, Derrick White, we have him for points and rebounds, but we have him for 20.5. Now, it is kind of difficult to go off what the pros are saying because the pros have him for a very, very different line. What we do see here is that the pros do have him for actually 19.5. On top of that, we can't really go off that, but projection that they do have is 21.5 points and rebounds. So they actually haven't projected for the over, which is why coming into this next matchup, we are going against that projection there. When we look at the last 15 games, when we adjust the line actually to ours at 20.5, we've seen him go on the under in actually, 47% of those matchups. So coming into this next one, we should definitely see the under for someone like him coming into this game. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for someone like Derrick White coming into this matchup. So Derrick White, 20.5 points and rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Kristaps Porzingis. So Kristaps, as we all know, great player, and it is now in a new team, which is the Golden State Warriors, and this one is for 7.5 rebounds, and this one is for more. Now, looking at Kristaps Porzingis, we definitely have seen him go on the over in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we do actually see March 19th faced off against Boston Celtics, had 7 rebounds and assists there. March 21st faced off against Detroit Pistons, had 3 rebounds and assists. March 24th faced off against Dallas, had 12 rebounds and assists. 7 rebounds and assists against Brooklyn Nets on March 26th. And then March 28th faced off against Washington Wizards and had 11 rebounds and assists there. So really interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Kristaps, we definitely have seen him, go on the over in only 2 out of the last 5. But what we do also see when it comes to this is that his average over the last 5 is also 8. Now, when we look at this matchup, we do also know that Kristaps Porzingis and the Golden State Warriors have themselves a very good matchup against none other than actually Denver Nuggets. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting matchup there. Now, when we look at this, we do also know that Golden State Warriors, looking at where they rank, also where Denver rank. Now, starting off with the Golden State Warriors unfortunately have fallen quite a little bit. Now, what we actually do see when it comes to this is that they have the 10th spot in the Western Conference with 36 wins and 38 losses. Now, they have actually, however, secured a spot in the play-ins. Now, they have a 48.6% win percentage there, 21-15 from home, 15-23 from away, and are currently currently on a 3-game win streak. So they've definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know that the Golden State Warriors face off against none other than the Denver Nuggets. Now, looking at Denver Nuggets, we do actually see that they rank 4th in the Western Conference. They have 47 wins, 28 losses, a 62.7% win percentage there, 23-13 from home, 24-15 from away, and are currently on a 5-game win streak. So really interesting to see from them there. Obviously, looking at, Denver Nuggets, they are ranked a little bit higher. But what we also do see defensively is that looking at Denver Nuggets when it comes to assists allowed, we see that they rank 20th, allowing 27.5 assists per game. And then rebounds allowed, we also see that they rank 9th, allowing 42.8 rebounds per game there. So really interesting to see. Obviously, looking at that, we definitely have seen Denver, although they are a great team, they have actually struggled at defending rebounds and assists there, which is why we do very much like the over for someone like Kristaps. Now, Kristaps usually does play that big man position as well. He is usually for, center position, but what we also do know is that when we look at, Golden State Warriors, they have or are facing a lot of big injuries. And since they are facing a lot of injuries, we definitely do like the over for this one due to the fact that when we look at Golden State Warriors and with all the injuries that they do have, Kristaps' usage rate should remain very high coming into this game, especially for a team like Denver that do struggle at restricting rebounds, at restricting assists. We should definitely see him going on the over in this case. Now, looking at this, we do also know, and looking at some of the injuries, obviously for Warriors, Will Richard, Quinton Post, Seth Curry, Al Horford, Stephen Curry, a lot of big injuries there, and it's definitely going to, add to Kristaps Porzingis' usage rate coming into this game for sure. Now, when we actually look at this, we do also know that looking at Kristaps and the Golden State Warriors facing off against Denver, we have seen them face off against each other in the past, but this was when Kristaps was with a completely different team. So he was with a completely different team there. And on top of that, what we also do know looking at this matchup is that also that this was on the 5th of December. He was playing with the Atlanta Hawks. He had 20 minutes, 25 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. So you definitely want to take this with a grain of salt, as I've mentioned. Obviously, looking at that, we do also know that Kristaps Porzingis with a different team, you don't want to take it too seriously or really look into it too deep. But what we definitely can still see, however, is the actual pros and what they do have him for. Now, when we scroll over to rebounds and assists, now, we have Kristaps for 7.5, and as of right now, they also do have him for 7.5, which is great to see there. Now, when we look at their 7.5, they also have him favored for the over. So that actually kind of works out in our favor there. The fact that they do have him for the over really does, stand out to us there. Now, the projection they do have is 8.2 rebounds and assists. Now, the reason why that is good to see is because when we actually look at the projections, we do see that they have him projected for the over, so they are agreeing with us there. So coming into this next one, we should very much like the actual over for it, as the projection we agree with, and also the bookies. Now, looking at those last 15 games, obviously he's only gone on the over in 33% of these matchups, but we should see a very different sort of outcome coming into this next one for sure. So for someone like Kristaps, we definitely see a lot of value there for him to be able to go on the over in this situation here. So definitely keep an eye out for his actual line there. So Kristaps Porzingis, 7.5 rebounds and assists, 4 more, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Amen Thompson. So Amen Thompson, great player, as we all know. Now, this one is a fantastic one for 17.5 points, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Amen Thompson, we have actually seen him go on the over in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, this is pretty fantastic to see because, looking at those 5, we see on March 21st, faced off against Atlanta Hawks, actually had 14 points in that matchup. Then March 22nd, faced off against Miami Heat, had 24 points in that matchup. After that, we saw 23 points against Chicago Bulls on March 24th. March 26th, faced off against Minnesota Timberwolves, had 11 points there. Then 18 points against Memphis Grizzlies on March 28th. So really interesting to see from them there. Obviously, looking at someone like Thompson, we definitely have seen him go on the over, quite consistently. But what we also do know, looking at this matchup, is that Thompson has actually found himself in a situation where his average over the last 5 is 18, but Houston face off against the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, looking at where both of these teams do lie, starting off with Houston Rockets, we have actually seen that Houston do come in at the actual 6th spot in the Western Conference. Now, they have already clinched a play-in spot, which is fantastic from them there. But what we also do know, looking at that matchup, is that they have a 44 wins, 29 losses, a 60.3% win percentage there, and also 25-10 from home, 17-18 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So really interesting to see from them there. Obviously, looking at Houston Rockets, they definitely have done, a great job so far this season. What we also do know is that they face off against a Pelicans team that have struggled all season long, because Pelicans do come in at the 12th spot in the Western Conference. They have 25 wins, 50 losses, a 33.3% win percentage there, 16-22 from home, 9-28 from away, and are currently on a 4-game losing streak. So really interesting to see from them there. Obviously, for someone like Thompson, we definitely have seen him, do a great job as well over the last 5, and it's due to the fact that we just have seen a massive increase in his usage rate out there on the floor, especially when it comes to scoring. Now, it could be a change in game plan. It could be really anything about that, but we just definitely have seen him continue to push through greatly. Now, looking at this matchup, we do also know that Thompson and the Houston Rockets face off against a Pelicans team that do actually rank, when it comes to points allowed, they do rank 25th, allowing 119.3 points per game. So this one is very much a no-brainer to us. Pelicans are a really poor team when it comes to, restricting scoring, which is why we are definitely expecting the over for someone like him. We definitely see him going on the over in this case, and honestly, when you also look at Thompson, you also do see that he has also, really struggled, times before, but as of lately, we definitely have seen his scoring really improve. Now, Pelicans do also struggle at restricting points to Thompson's position, which is why we do very much like the over for this situation here. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for this one. Now, when we actually look at also Thompson, we also do know that when we look at his last matchups against Pelicans in the past, we have seen him do a fantastic job there. We saw on the 18th of December, faced off against them and had 41 minutes, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. So he did a great job in that first game. He did go on the over on his points line. Then their second matchup, which was on the 18th of January, had 40 minutes of game time, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, and also 1 block. So they definitely have done a great job in that one. He did go on the over in that second matchup as well when it came to points. And then the third matchup, which was on the 13th of actually March, had 40 minutes, 23 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, and also 1 steal there. So really interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Thompson, we definitely have seen, Amon do a great job time and time again. So this is a no-brainer to us on why we do like the over for this next one for sure. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for someone like Amon coming into this next game. And we definitely see a lot of value there for him to be able to go on the over in this case. So for that reason, Thompson, when we also look at what the pros do have to say, they have him for a slightly different line. They have him for 18.5. So we can't really go off what the bookies are saying there. But what we definitely can take a look at is that the projection that they do have for him is 18.6. So they have him projected for the over, which I think is fantastic. So it definitely does match up and line up with what we want. So that's a big sign for us there. But what we also do see is that the last 15, we've actually seen him go on the over. When we actually adjust the line to ours, we've seen him go on the over in 80% of these matchups. So he's definitely had the hot hand as of lately. I'm not sure if it's a usage rate. I'm not sure whether he's improved greatly, but what we definitely have seen from him is that he's been able to push hard and be able to score very, very well. So that's why coming into this next one, we do very much like the over for someone like Thompson coming into this game. So Thompson for 17.5 points for more, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Bam Adebayo. So Bam Adebayo, great player, and this one is for rebounds and assists for 13.5, and this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Bam Adebayo, we actually have seen him go on the over in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we see on March 20th, faced off against the LA Lakers, had 12 rebounds and assists there. March 22nd, faced off against Houston Rockets, had 25 rebounds and assists, 24 rebounds and assists against San Antonio Spurs, had 7 rebounds and assists on March 24th. Then March 26th, faced off against Cleveland Cavaliers, had 17 rebounds and assists there. Then had 19 rebounds and assists against Cleveland on March 28th. So really interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Bam Adebayo, we definitely have seen him go on the over time and time again. But what we also do know, looking at this matchup, is that also Bam Adebayo and also Miami Heat face off against none other than Indiana Pacers. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting matchup between both of these teams. Looking at where both of these teams do lie, starting off with Miami Heat. Miami actually have struggled a little bit this season because they actually come in at the actual, I would say, 9th spot in the Eastern Conference, but they are still tied with a couple of other teams. So it is definitely still pushing. Now, when we look at this, we do also know that, they have 39 wins, 35 losses, a 52.7% win percentage there. 23-14 from home, 16 and 21 from away, and then also 1 game losing streak. So really interesting to see from them there. When we look at their matchup, which is Indiana Pacers unfortunately have struggled quite a lot because Pacers do come in at the actual 15th spot in the Eastern Conference, and they also have 16 wins and 58 losses. Now, it's a 21.6% win percentage there. On top of that, what we also have seen is that also a 10-27 record from home, 6-31 from away, and are currently on a 2-game losing streak. So really interesting to see from them there. Obviously, looking at that, we do also know when it comes to actually Bam Adebayo, we do know that the Pacers do actually rank when it comes to rebounds and assists allowed. Pacers do rank 13th when it comes to assists allowed, allowing 26.5 assists per game. And then rebounds allowed, we also do find that the Pacers come in at the 28th spot and allow 46.7 rebounds per game. So we actually have seen them do a fantastic job in assists, or I would say a decent job at assists, but a very poor job at rebounds. Now, why do we still like the over for someone like Bam? Now, a big reason being is that when we actually look at Bam Adebayo, he is a big man, usually plays center, and Indiana Pacers do actually struggle at restricting rebounds and assists to the big man position. So for that reason, we are definitely expecting the over for someone like Bam Adebayo there. We definitely are expecting him to be able to take advantage of this and go on the over in this case. And especially for someone like Miami facing off against Indiana, we do also know that this game will be a very fast-paced game. Indiana like to push the pace, so do Miami. So as we've always mentioned before, the faster the pace or the faster the speed of the game, the more volume and more opportunity for Bam to rebound and also play make. So we definitely are taking that into consideration coming into this game for sure. Now, looking at also Miami and Bam facing off against Indiana in the past, we have seen them face off against each other before. Now, this was actually on the 10th of January, so somewhat recent as it was this year. And he actually had 25 minutes of game time in that matchup, 13 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists in that matchup as well. So really interesting to see. Obviously, he did go on the under, in that matchup. But you do also have to realize he only played 25 minutes. So that's a little bit lower than what we are expecting. We are expecting Bam to play a bit more of a heavier type matchup and a heavier type game because Miami Heat definitely need to win these last couple of games due to the fact that it can definitely change their ranking and change their play in position. So they are definitely going to be pushing for it. We are expecting Bam to get a lot more minutes out there, and a lot more minutes will definitely lead to a bigger volume or higher volume for someone like Bam. Now, when we actually look at Bam Adebayo as well, we also do see rebounds and assists. They have him for 13.5. So really, really interesting to see from them there. Obviously, looking at Bam Adebayo, we definitely have seen him do a great job, time and time again. But they also have him for 13.5 when it comes to the pros, and they also have him favored for the under. So we are agreeing with actually the pros coming into this when it comes to the bookies, and the projection that they do have is 13.7. So we are agreeing with that projection as well, which I think is fantastic. Now, when we look at the last 15, yes, he's only going on the over in 40% of those matchups, but we aren't really too worried about that because we still do very, very much like the over for someone like Bam coming into this game. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for someone like Bam Adebayo coming into this one. So Bam Adebayo for 13.5 rebounds and assists for more, I think is a fantastic pick.